Welcome back. Today, we're going on a bit of a linguistic adventure. We're going to take a deep dive into the original Arabic of the Quran to look at three concepts you definitely know: heaven, hell, and the hereafter. Our mission is to investigate what these words really mean based on how they're used in the text itself. So, let's start with a really big question, one that's going to guide this whole exploration. What if heaven and hell aren't actual places you go to after you die? What if they're describing something else, something you can experience right here, right now? Think of this as an investigative journey. We're going to follow the linguistic clues that are baked right into the Quran's language. And by doing that, we'll explore two very different pictures that emerge. Is the Quran talking about a realm you go to after death? Or is it giving us a kind of map for understanding the reality we're creating for ourselves today? Okay, let's open our first case file, and it's a big one. It's the concept of al-akhirah. Now, this is almost always translated as the hereafter or the afterlife. But let's push that aside for a second and see what the language itself has to say. So, the traditional understanding, the one we all know, is super clear. Al-akhirah is a totally separate place, a different realm of existence that kicks in after we die, where our souls are judged. This is our starting point, our baseline. And here's our first clue. It all comes down to the Arabic root word, the letters a, ha, ra. And you know what they mean? Simply, something that comes later, something that's subsequent or ultimate. That's it. Notice what's not there. There's no built-in meaning of another dimension or a post-death world. And when you start following this clue, a really clear pattern shows up all over the Quran. This root is used for simple things, like saying another sign. It's often put in contrast with the word for the former. But here's the kicker. It is consistently paired with the word al-dunya. Now, al-dunya doesn't mean the physical world. It means the nearer or the immediate. That's a huge distinction. This verse just lays it all out perfectly. When you read it this way, you see the contrast isn't between planet Earth and some paradise in the sky. No, it's a contrast between what is immediate and temporary versus what is subsequent and permanent. It's all about consequences. So here's the bottom line. This linguistic pattern suggests a totally different way to read this. Instead of a physical place you go after you die, al-akhirah could be understood as the ultimate, lasting consequences of the things you do right now. The focus completely shifts, you know? It's not about a future place anymore. It's about the long-term results of your life today. All right, let's keep this investigation rolling. Let's see how this idea develops with our second case file, al-jannah, the word we all know as paradise or heaven. Now, the traditional picture of jannah is, well, it's beautiful, right? It's this lush, amazing garden in heaven, a place of eternal reward for believers when they die. That's the image we're going to put under our linguistic microscope. But just like before, the root word tells a really fascinating story. The root jnn doesn't actually mean garden. Its core meaning, its primary sense, is to cover, to conceal, to protect, or to shelter. This piece of evidence is a game changer. And you see this root's meaning all over the place. The jinn, they're concealed, hidden beings. Junun, which means madness, it's the idea of a mind that is covered. A jannah is a shield, a protective covering. And a garden, well, what does a garden do? It provides shade, it covers you from the sun. The pattern is all about protection and being concealed. So if we take that clue and plug it back into a verse like this one, the meaning just pops. It suggests that people who act with integrity enter a state of protection, a state of shelter, where they find everything they need, security and provision. And listen to this description. It's not just a nice weather report. This is a powerful metaphor. To not see the burning sun or the freezing cold, that is the very definition of being in a state of shelter, completely protected from life's harsh extremes. So what we have are two very different readings. There's the traditional view of a paradise garden after you die. Or there's a reading based on the Quran's own pattern, that jannah is a present state of shelter and security that comes directly from living a life of sound, beneficial action. And that brings us to the final piece of our puzzle, our final case file, Jahannam, the term for hell. Let's open this one up and see what the Quran's own descriptions tell us. The traditional view, of course, is a physical place, a realm of eternal fire and awful punishment that's waiting for sinners after they die. That's the common understanding we're starting from. Now let's look at our first piece of evidence here. The description is, wow, it's so stark. It's not a fire that burns your skin, it's a fire that rises over the hearts. Right away, that points us towards something internal, something psychological. And when you really look at how the Quran talks about this state, it uses these incredibly powerful psychological metaphors. It's an internal fire. It's a condition of just endless, exhausting work that gets you nowhere. It's this clinging state where you feel trapped and constricted by your own harmful choices. And this verse just perfectly illustrates that experience. Notice the order of operations here. You are laboring and exhausted, and that leads to burning in a scorching fire. It describes a state of pointless, frustrating effort that gives you nothing back but burning futility. So once again, the evidence points to two different readings. There's the traditional post-death hellfire, or there's a Quranic pattern that suggests Jahannam is the natural, observable result of living a harmful life. It's a state of burning frustration and being constricted that happens right here, right now. Okay, it's time to bring it all together. We've traced the linguistic clues for each of these huge concepts, and now we can lay out the two complete pictures, two totally different maps of reality that have emerged from our investigation. And here they are, side by side, the two maps. One map describes a series of future destinations that you go to after you die. The other, the one based on the Quran's own linguistic patterns, describes a map of cause and effect for this life. It's basically a guide to the consequences of your actions in the here and now. Sound actions lead you to a state of shelter, while harmful actions lead you to a state of burning futility. And that brings us to one final thought to leave you with. Based on the language itself, is the Quran primarily a book about what happens after we die? Or is it a psychological and practical map for living consciously, showing us how our choices create our reality, our personal shelter, or our burning, in every single moment? The choice of which map to follow, well, that's up to you.